My beloved child, come closer to the sound of my voice. For tonight, I speak to you not as a stranger, not as a distant teacher, but as a father who has seen something in the spirit. Something trembling, something urgent, something that carries the weight of eternity. Hear me now, because as I opened my eyes in prayer, I saw a vision. And in that vision, Archangel Michael, yes, the great warrior of heaven, was standing with his sword lowered and his face turned toward the earth. His wings, usually stretched in certainty and strength, were trembling. His voice carried a cry I had never heard before. He was calling out a name. Not a name lost in the wind. Not a name shouted into darkness. He was calling your name. And my beloved child, he wasn't calling in victory. He wasn't calling in celebration. He wasn't calling in command. He was calling in warning. I saw him leaning forward, his hand stretched as if reaching for someone sliding off a cliff. His cry was filled with the sorrow of a protector watching the one he guards drift too close to danger, danger you may not yet see. He called your name because the moment is close, far closer than you realize. A moment where God's protection, His covering, His shield, His mighty hand over your life, begins to pull back, not out of punishment, but because you have been walking away from it without noticing. Oh, my child, heaven does not shout without reason. When Michael cries, realms shake. When he lifts his voice, the armies of God pause. And when he calls your name, it is because the path beneath your feet is shifting, and you are moments away, just moments, from stepping outside the barrier that has kept you safe since the day you were born. I tell you this with the love of a father. This is not a message of fear. This is a message of rescue. You are being pulled back from the edge. So listen with your heart open. Lean in. Let every word wrap around you like a cloak of light. Because what I will speak next will guide you, protect you, and awaken you. My beloved child, lean in again. For what I am about to share flows directly from the depths of the vision that was shown to me. Let your heart be still, because this part of the message carries a weight that only the humble can receive. When Archangel Michael cries out a name, it is never casual, never accidental, never faint. His voice does not wander like the voices of men. His call is precise, intentional, sharp as the edge of the sword he carries, and yet tender with the love of heaven. In the realm of God, Michael stands as the mighty defender, the commander of angelic armies, the one who has fought battles over nations, destinies, and souls long before the foundations of the earth were laid. He does not concern himself with trivial matters. He concerns himself with eternity. He moves when danger approaches. He speaks when heaven must intervene. And tonight, my beloved child, he has spoken your name. The heavens themselves seemed to lean closer as he cried out, as though every star listened with holy silence. I saw him standing at the threshold between realms, 1 foot in glory and 1 foot extended toward the earth, as if he were bracing himself against a tide of darkness pressing closer than usual. His voice was filled with both strength and sorrow. It echoed like thunder, yet trembled like a broken heartbeat. He cried out because something near you, round you, or attached to your steps, has begun to shift. This shift has not gone unnoticed in heaven, even if it has slipped quietly past your awareness. My child, the cry of Michael is a cry of divine interruption. It means heaven has seen what you cannot. It means danger is closer than you think. It means the spiritual ground beneath your journey has weakened. Angels do not weep easily, yet I saw the shadow of sorrow across Michael's face. For he is not merely a warrior, he is a guardian. His assignment is to stand between you and what seeks to break you. But even the greatest of angels cannot protect a soul that slowly, silently, unknowingly walks out from under the covering prepared for them. Do you understand now why his cry matters? Archangel Michael does not sound an alarm unless time is short. He does not call unless something is at stake. And in this moment, beloved, what is at stake is not a small blessing, not a fleeting opportunity, not a momentary discomfort. What is at stake is your protection, your divine shield, your spiritual safety, your covering that has preserved you from dangers seen and unseen. There are seasons when heaven whispers, but then there are moments when heaven shouts. Tonight, heaven is shouting, not in anger but in love, not in rejection but in rescue. And oh, how heaven fights for you. Whether you realize it or not, angels have been surrounding you. They have intercepted attacks, redirected harm, weakened storms meant for your destruction, and pushed away darkness that desired to swallow your peace. Yet even angels can sense when someone begins to drift. Even they can feel when your spiritual steps begin to wander toward shadows, temptations, or distractions that quietly separate you from the shelter of God. Michael's cry is not only for warning, it is also for awakening. He is calling you by name because heaven still believes in the purpose within you. Heaven is fighting for the destiny written over your life. Heaven is refusing to lose you without a final call, a final alert, a final cry that breaks through the noise around your soul. Let me tell you, my beloved child, why his cry is so urgent. It is because the signs of spiritual drift have already started, even if you haven't recognized them. Small compromises, lingering wounds, quiet distractions, weariness at heart, moments where prayer slipped away, hours where the world's voice sounded louder than God's, nights where peace felt far, steps that turned into patterns, patterns that turned into distance, distance that has grown into danger. But heaven sees it. Heaven is not blind to the subtle pull that tries to draw you away from divine safety. And so Michael calls your name, not to shame you, not to condemn you, not to scare you, but to warn you lovingly, urgently, mercifully. My beloved child, hear this. When your name is cried out in the heavens, it means they still want you. It means you are still chosen. It means the covering is still available. It means the door is not closed. You are not lost. You are being called back. And so now, as I stand here speaking to you with the heart of a father, I ask gently but firmly, open your spirit to what comes next. The message will not only reveal what it means to be moments away from losing that divine protection, but also how to step back under it before the moment passes. My beloved child, come closer again, for a truth that many avoid, yet every soul must understand. When heaven says you are moments away from losing divine protection, it does not mean God has abandoned you. No, my child, God does not abandon. God does not withdraw in anger. His protection is like a mighty fortress, but a soul can slowly wander away from its walls without even realizing it. And that wandering, that drifting, is what Archangel Michael sees before we do. I want you to imagine this with me. Picture yourself walking along a path covered in golden light, a path surrounded by angels, guarded by the shield of God. On this path, no weapon formed against you can prosper. No darkness can overtake you. No calamity can claim you. Heaven watches every step, and the earth trembles at your protection. But now imagine that with each small choice, each moment of weariness, each compromise that seems harmless, you take one tiny step to the side. Just slightly. just enough to shift your direction without even noticing. And then another step, and then another, each one small, each one subtle, each one quiet, until one day, without a dramatic moment or loud warning, you find yourself at the very edge of the protective covering God has placed around you. That is what it means to be moments away. Not a sudden fall, but a gradual drift. A soul that has been slowly pulled into places it was never meant to be. And my child, I feel in my spirit that this message has reached you at the exact moment heaven intended, because you are closer to that edge than you realize. And heaven loves you too much to stay silent. Losing God's protection does not look like lightning striking or a dramatic flash from the sky. It begins with a weakening, a vulnerability, a softening of the shield around you. You feel it in the little things first. Peace becomes harder to find. Sleep becomes uneasy. People begin to drain you instead of strengthen you. Doors that once opened with ease start to resist. You sense confusion where there used to be clarity. You feel tension in the atmosphere around you. And suddenly, the attacks that once bounced off now seem to find their way in. My beloved child, this is why Michael cries out. Because heaven sees the shift before you feel the consequences. The divine covering does not leave suddenly. It fades as we step away from it. And when we step too far, darkness sees an opening. And spiritual realm watches every move, every thought, every hesitation. And when a soul moves away from God's protection, the enemy does not wait patiently. He circles. He looks for cracks. He looks for moments when your guard lowers. He looks for distractions that pull your attention away from the light. He looks for wounds that you have not healed, for frustrations you have not released, for fears you have allowed to whisper too long in your ear. This is why the cry was urgent. Because Michael saw the enemy stepping closer. Not as a shadow in the distance, but as a presence near your door. He saw the danger forming. He saw the temptation rising. He saw the exhaustion in your spirit. He saw the battlefield tightening around you. And he could not remain silent. Heaven fights for you, my beloved child. But even heaven cannot override the direction of your feet. Angels protect, but they cannot force you to stay under the shelter. When a soul wanders, angels cry out, not to punish, but to call them back. Because once the covering grows thin, everything you were protected from begins to press in. Emotional attacks, spiritual heaviness, strange conflicts, unexpected discouragement. All of these are signs, warnings that the barrier is weakening. But listen closely now. You are not too far gone. You are not lost. You are not abandoned. You are simply in a dangerous place, and heaven is issuing its final alert before harm reaches your door. That is why Michael is crying out your name. He is calling you back to alignment, back to prayer, back to surrender, back to the place where no darkness can claim you. He knows that the moment you turn even slightly toward God again, the protection rushes back like a flood. The shield rises. The angels return to their posts. The enemy is pushed back. The covering strengthens. And peace begins to settle once more. My beloved child, hear this with your whole spirit. The moment you shift your heart, heaven shifts your surroundings. The moment you step back toward the light, the darkness loses its grip. The moment you return your attention to God, His protection wraps around you again with the strength of 1,000 armies. Now breathe. Feel these words. Let them settle deep within you. The edge is near, but you have not stepped off. The warning has come just in time. My beloved child, take my hand in the Spirit now, for what I am about to reveal is not something the natural eyes can see, yet it surrounds you every day, every moment, every breath. Whether you feel it or not, whether you acknowledge it or not, whether you believe it or not, you are living in the middle of a battlefield that stretches far beyond the physical world. The invisible realm is more real than the ground beneath your feet, and it is there that the fiercest battles of your life are fought. When I looked into the vision, I saw not only Archangel Michael calling out your name, but I also saw movement, shadows, forces, entities that were drawing near because they sensed a vulnerability around you. My child, the enemy does not attack randomly. He studies. He watches. He waits. He observes the places where your heart weakens, your faith trembles, your focus drifts. And when he sees that a person is near the edge of God's protective covering, he begins to advance, step by step, closer and closer, like a predator scenting an opening. But at the same time, heaven watches as well. Angels do not merely stand in silence. They move with purpose. They stand guard. They form barriers. They lift fiery swords against what hunts you. You may not see them, but they see you with perfect clarity. They know the battles you have survived. They know the storms that were meant to break you. They know the nights you cried, the days you endured, the wounds you carried but never spoke of. They have been fighting for you long before you understood what was coming against your life. And yet, my beloved child, there is a truth here you must understand. Angels fight for you when you are under the covering of God. They surround you. They battle on your behalf. They intercept attacks meant to destroy you. But when a soul begins to drift, when the heart becomes distracted, when the spirit becomes weary, when prayer becomes silent, when faith becomes thin, it is not just your emotions that shift. It is the entire atmosphere around you. I saw in the vision that the battlefield around you has intensified. The enemy is not attacking you because you are weak. He is attacking because you are valuable. A thief does not break into an empty house. He breaks into a house where treasure is kept. And you, my beloved child, are heaven's treasure. Your calling, your destiny, your purpose, your gifts, these are threats to the kingdom of darkness. And so the battle increases. It is not a sign that God has left you. It is a sign that heaven is preparing you. The spiritual battle is not loud. It is subtle. It appears in your thoughts, in your emotions, in sudden discouragement, in strange irritation, in unexpected conflicts, in feelings of heaviness, and moments of fear that seem to come from nowhere, in temptations that arrive when you are tired, and doubts that whisper at the edges of your mind. These are not mere coincidences. They are spiritual pressures, forces pressing in when the shield around you thins. But hear this, my child, angels have not stepped back. They are still fighting. Yet they are fighting harder now because the enemy have been pushing harder. I saw Michael raise his sword, not in victory, but in resistance, as though he was holding back a wave that wanted to crash against your life. This is why his cry was so urgent, because if you take one more step away from the light, the wave will break through. In the invisible realm, battles do not start when you feel them. They often start long before. Heaven hath been battling for you in silence. You do not know the dangers that were diverted. You do not see the arrows that never reached you. You do not realize how many nights your guardian angel stood over you, blocking fear, blocking attack, blocking despair. But now, because you are near the edge, the enemy's strategies have grown bolder. He senses an opportunity. He senses the weakening of your shield. Yet here is the miracle. Heaven is still louder. Heaven is still stronger. Heaven still calls your name. Michael's cry is not a sound of defeat. It is a rallying cry, a final alert to pull you back before the enemy crosses the line. And if you respond, if your heart turns, even slightly, the entire battlefield will shift. The enemy will retreat. The angels will advance. The shield will strengthen. My beloved child, this battle around you is real. But you are not helpless in it. You are not alone in it. You are not exposed in it. Not yet. You are moments away, but not gone. And as long as you can hear this message, heaven still fights with full force on your behalf. My beloved child, listen closely now, for this part is one of the most delicate truths the Spirit placed upon my heart. Most people imagine that drifting away from God happens loudly, dramatically, suddenly. They picture a great fall, a great rebellion, a great moment of collapse. But in reality, the most dangerous drift is the quiet one, the silent one, the one that moves so gently that the soul does not even feel itself slipping. And this, my beloved, is the drift that heaven showed me around your life. It is never the loud sins that take a person out of God's protection first. It is the slow fading of light within the heart. It begins with small choices, slight compromises, tiny wounds that remain unhealed, prayers that become whispers, and whispers that become silence. It begins when the spirit becomes tired, when the heart becomes disappointed, when the future becomes blurry. These things do not break a person at once, but they pull them, gently, softly, almost kindly, 1 inch at a time, away from the shelter of God's covering. I saw in the vision how Michael watched this drift around you. He did not look angry. He looked sorrowful, like a protector whose beloved has begun to wander into a place where he cannot follow unless they willingly return. A soul does not run from God. A soul drifts. It drifts when distraction becomes familiar. It drifts when the world's noise becomes louder than heaven's whisper. It drifts when a person's spirit becomes tired of fighting and begins to settle for survival instead of revival. My child, drifting always begins in the heart long before it is seen in the life. You may still look strong. You may still smile. You may still function. You may still speak faith. You may still show up. But inside, there is a quiet disconnect, a slow distancing, a gentle leaning into your own understanding. You begin to carry your burdens instead of casting them. You begin to hold your struggles instead of surrendering them. You begin to rely on your own strength, and heaven watches the shift with deep ache. The enemy loves the silent drift because it is unnoticed. No alarms sound. No warnings flash. No dramatic moment alerts you. The drift feels safe. It feels soft. It feels familiar. You tell yourself you are fine, but heaven sees the steps you cannot see. Heaven sees how close you are to the border. Heaven sees how thin the protection has become in certain places. Heaven sees the cracks in the atmosphere around you. Heaven sees the invitation for darkness to enter. And this, my beloved child, is why Michael cried your name. Not because you have fallen beyond the reach of God. No. He cried because you were drifting so quietly that you did not even realize how close you were to stepping out of the covering that has shielded you for years. He cried because the gentle drift was about to turn into a costly distance. But hear me now, with the love of a father, heaven is not exposing you. Heaven is rescuing you. Heaven is calling you back before your next step becomes the wrong one. Heaven still believes in you. Heaven still waits for you. Heaven still sees purpose in places where you see fatigue. And heaven knows that if you return even slightly, the drift will end, the covering will strengthen, and the danger will be pushed far away from you. My beloved child, before we move to the next revelation, I must whisper something to your spirit. When heaven sends a warning like this, it is not just for you. Someone else needs this message. Someone else is drifting silently. Someone else is near the same edge. Someone else is being called by name. So if this word stirs your heart, if you feel its truth, if you sense its urgency, then let your spirit respond. Share this message so that another life may be saved from the same drift. Let the divine nudge in your heart guide you to spread the warning, for heaven often uses willing voices to rescue wandering souls. Subscribe, stay connected, and lift this message higher, not for vanity, but because each act becomes part of the ministry heaven entrusted to you. My beloved child, draw nearer, for what I am about to reveal is the heaviest part of the vision I was shown. My heart trembles even as I speak it, because this is no ordinary message. This is Michael's final alert. Not a gentle reminder. Not a soft whisper. Not a distant warning. This is the moment where heaven raises its voice, where the realm of angels leans forward, where time feels tight, and where a line is drawn in the unseen world. When I saw Archangel Michael standing between realms, his sword was lowered, but not in defeat. It was lowered in sorrow. Imagine a warrior who has fought for you since the day you were born, fought battles you never knew about, rescued you from dangers you never saw, covered you when darkness reached for you, shielded you in moments you thought were just luck. This warrior has stood faithfully at your side, always with strength, always with confidence. But in the vision, I saw his sword trembling. Not because he lacked power, but because he sensed that your next steps would take you beyond the territory where he has authority to protect you. My beloved child, angels operate under divine covering. Their strength flows from your alignment with God. When you walk with the Lord, angels surround you like flames of fire. But when a soul begins to drift, when the heart grows distant, when decisions pull you away from the light, heaven watches with the ache of a parent whose child is wandering toward danger. And Michael, as the chief protector, feels that ache the strongest. His final alert is not a message of condemnation. It is a message born from love, from urgency, from the weight of what he sees approaching your life. I saw him lift his gaze toward heaven as though seeking permission to intervene further. And then I saw him look down toward you with eyes that carried both fierce love and deep sorrow. It was as if he was saying, "Do not take another step that leads you away from the shelter. Turn now while there is still time." In the invisible realm, timing matters. There are moments when heaven calls you softly, gently, tenderly. And then there are moments when heaven calls you urgently, because the window of safety is narrowing. This is one of those moments. Michael was not calling you to frighten you. He was calling because he sees an assignment of darkness that is waiting for the moment your covering thins just enough for it to enter. He sees the traps forming. He sees the emotional storm preparing to break. He sees the spiritual ambush being prepared in the shadows. But even more than that, he sees your destiny. He sees the calling placed on your life. He sees the potential the enemy is desperate to destroy. He sees the generational impact that your obedience carries. He sees the souls connected to your journey. He sees the light within you that darkness fears. And because of that, he is unwilling to stay silent. His cry is not a cry of despair, it is a cry of rescue. My beloved child, this final alert is heaven's way of saying, You are too close to lose. Too close to purpose. Too close to breakthrough. Too close to the next chapter. Too close to the blessing that has been forming around you. Too close to the deliverance that has been prepared. Too close to the restoration heaven has already written. The enemy thinks he can steal you at the edge, snatch you at the border, confuse you in the transition. But Michael stands in the way, calling out your name to pull you back into alignment before the enemy takes advantage of a weakened moment. The vision showed me something else. I saw Michael lift his sword again. Slowly. Deliberately. And as he lifted it, the atmosphere around you shifted. It was as though the final alert he gave was the last call before heaven releases judgment on whatever threatens you. But that protection will only fully rise if you step back under the covering. Heaven is ready to defend you with a force that will shake the spiritual world, but they need your yes. They need your return. They need your heart back in the place of surrender. My child, never forget this. God's mercy has a voice, and sometimes that voice sounds like a warning. Not to terrify you, but to save you. Not to shame you, but to awaken you. Not to push you away, but to draw you close. This message is not about punishment. It is about intervention. Heaven is stepping into your path so that you do not walk into something you were never meant to face alone. You are loved too deeply to be lost. You are chosen too strongly to be abandoned. You are valued too greatly to be left wandering. And so heaven calls your name with urgency, because the time to respond is now. My beloved child, prepare your heart now, for what I am about to reveal is one of the most sobering truths in all of Scripture, yet one of the most hopeful when understood correctly. The Spirit carried me into a vision of a great door, a door radiant with heavenly light, a door that has stood open for you since the moment God breathed life into your soul. This door, my beloved, is the door of mercy. It is the doorway into God's covering, God's safety, God's presence, and God's protection. But as I looked closer, I saw something that made my spirit tremble. This door was beginning to narrow. Not closing, not slamming shut, but narrowing, like a final moment before a season shifts, before grace moves into a different expression, before a divine opportunity transitions into something new. And I felt the weight of heaven's urgency as I saw it. Because, my child, you are standing right in front of this very door. This narrowing door reminded me of the days of Noah. The people didn't notice the rain was near. They didn't see the danger forming. They lived as though time was endless. But when the moment came for the door of the ark to close, it was not Noah who shut it. It was God Himself. When the door closed, it was final. Not in anger, but in divine timing. In the same way, Lot was pulled out of Sodom not because he was ready, but because heaven knew the hour had come. The wise virgins kept their lamps full, and when the bridegroom arrived, the door opened for them. But then it closed for those who waited too long. This is the imagery the Spirit pressed upon me. The door of mercy is still open for you, but heaven is urging you to step through while the moment is still yours. You are not beyond grace. You are not beyond forgiveness. You are not beyond restoration. But you are standing at a threshold that requires a response. Heaven sees what you cannot see. Heaven knows that the next chapter of your life requires covering, strength, and alignment. And heaven knows that the door must not be ignored while it is still open wide enough for you to enter with ease. My beloved child, the narrowing of this door does not mean God is rejecting you. It means your season is changing. It means certain protections that were automatic in one season will require obedience in the next. It means that where God once carried you, Now he is calling you to walk. It means that the grace that once sustained you quietly is now calling for your participation. And it means that heaven is inviting you, not forcing you, not pushing you, not intimidating you, but inviting you to step into a deeper level of covering. The enemy wants you to stay outside the doorway. He wants you distracted, confused, discouraged, overwhelmed. He wants you feeling unworthy or too busy or too distant. He wants your heart too tired to respond. Because he knows that once you cross through this narrowing door, the access he has tried to gain in your weakness will be sealed shut. He knows that the moment you step deeper into God's protection, every plan he has been forming against you will crumble. He knows that a strengthened covering around your life is his greatest defeat. And this is why Michael cried your name with such urgency. Because you are so close to stepping into a place where the enemy can no longer follow. So close to the breakthrough he fears. So close to the alignment heaven has prepared. So close to the shift that will close off old battles forever. So close to the protection that will shield you from the storm forming ahead. But my beloved child, a narrowing door requires focus. You cannot carry old weight through it. You cannot bring old distractions. You cannot bring old habits. You cannot bring old wounds without offering them to God. This is the moment to breathe, to release, to surrender, to listen. Heaven is not rushing you. Heaven is awakening you. I must tell you with the love of a father, do not let this moment pass. Do not stay at the threshold when heaven is calling you deeper. You are meant to enter. You are meant to step through. You are meant to stand under full protection again. And the moment you take a single step toward God, that door will widen just enough for grace to meet you, surround you, and lift you. My beloved child, if you feel a stirring in your heart right now, that is heaven pulling you toward the doorway. And I am here to walk with you into the next revelation, how to return fully under God's protection, how to step back into the shelter where angels stand guard, and how to let the light reclaim every corner of your life. My beloved child, let your heart rest for a moment, because what I am about to speak to you now is not a message of heaviness, but a message of hope. The same heaven that warned you is the same heaven that is ready to embrace you. The same Archangel Michael who cried out your name in urgency is the same one who will rejoice the moment you turn back toward the light. The path into God's protection is not complicated. It is not distant. It is not hidden behind rituals or rules. It is a path of the heart, a path of surrender, a path of returning to the one who has never stopped watching over you. My child, let me tell you something sacred. The journey back under God's protection does not begin with perfection. It begins with one moment of honesty. One whispered yes. One step toward the light. When a soul returns, even trembling, even weak, even uncertain, heaven erupts with joy. Angels who were fighting for you at a distance suddenly draw near. The covering that felt thin begins to thicken. The atmosphere around your life starts to shift. This is why the enemy tries so hard to keep you from turning back, because he knows that the moment your heart leans toward God, he loses access. Returning to God's covering begins with awareness. The moment you realize you have drifted is the moment the drift loses its power. Heaven is not asking you to run. Heaven is asking you to turn. Just turn your heart again. Turn your attention again. Turn your spirit again. That single turn is enough to break the enemy's strategy. My beloved child, imagine walking down a path that has grown darker. Your steps are uncertain. The shadows around you feel close. But the moment you stop and turn, even before you take a step, the light from the doorway of mercy shines on your face. That one turn is all heaven needs to act. And once you begin to walk back toward God, angels fall in behind you, guarding every inch of your return. You do not return through fear. You return through surrender. A simple whisper can lift you back into the arms of protection. Words like, "Lord, I am here. Lord, I want to come home. Lord, cover me again." Heaven responds to sincerity, not eloquence. Heaven responds to humility, not performance. Heaven responds to truth, not perfection. My child, coming back under God's protection also means silence. Silencing voices that pull you away, silencing distractions that weaken your spirit, silencing lies the enemy has planted in your mind. When you quiet the world, you begin to hear the whisper of the Spirit again. That whisper guides you. That whisper restores you. That whisper strengthens you. And then, there is the step of presence. Spend even a few minutes acknowledging God again. You do not need long prayers. You do not need elaborate words. Just be with Him. Sit in stillness. Let your soul breathe in His peace. The moment you do, the walls the enemy built around your heart begin to fall. God's presence is not distant, it is waiting. My beloved child, the path back also involves releasing what you have carried alone. Give God your worry. Give Him your fear. Give Him your guilt. Give Him your exhaustion. Heaven does not ask you to carry anything through that narrowing door. The lighter your spirit becomes, the easier it is to step fully under the shelter prepared for you. And oh, how the angels rejoice when one soul returns. When I was shown the vision, I saw armies of angels ready to protect, ready to fight, ready to shield. But they stood still, waiting for your yes, waiting for your heart to shift, waiting for that single moment where your spirit says, "Father, I need you again." The moment you speak it, all of heaven moves. The enemy fears this return because he knows what happens next. He knows that once the protection is restored, once the covering is rebuilt, once the barriers are fortified, he can no longer reach you with the same force. This is why he pressures your mind, why he overwhelms your emotions, why he tries to distract your attention, because he is terrified of the moment you walk back into your God-given shelter. But my beloved child, you are not too far. You are not too broken. You are not too late. You are not too unworthy. The fact that heaven sent this message to you proves that the door is still open and the covering is still willing to surround you. The return begins now, with a turning of your heart, the softening of your spirit, the willingness to step back under the wings that never stopped watching over you. My beloved child, come even closer now, for a tenderness that only heaven can release. You see, when I tell you that Archangel Michael is crying out your name, I am not speaking poetically or symbolically. I am speaking of a literal spiritual reality, a moment in the unseen realm where heaven's attention is fixed on you personally. Not on the crowd, not on the world, not on the masses, on you. There is a mystery in heaven that many never understand. When God calls a person by name, that name echoes through both realms. Your name is not just a sound to God. It is a destiny. It is an identity. It is a purpose. When heaven speaks your name, it vibrates with meaning. It awakens something dormant inside you. It stirs the part of your soul that was created before the foundations of the world. And when Michael cries your name, it is because heaven is trying to reach a part of you that has been asleep, weary, or wounded. My beloved child, I saw in the Spirit how your name traveled through the heavens like a beam of light. It pulsed with urgency, yes, but also with love. The way a father calls out to a child in danger. The way a shepherd calls to a sheep drifting too close to a cliff. It was a holy cry, a sacred plea, a divine declaration. Heaven was not shouting at you, it was calling you home. Do you know what it means for heaven to call you by name? It means you are known there. It means you are not forgotten. It means you are not invisible. It means your story matters. Your battles matter. Your tears matter. Your future matters. It means the God of all creation is not just aware of you, He is invested in you. Deeply. Personally. Passionately. Every time heaven has spoken your name, it has been to rescue you, to guide you, to strengthen you, to protect you. When you survived things that should have crushed you, heaven was calling your name. When you found strength to stand again after breaking, heaven was calling your name. When you felt a sudden peace for no reason at all, heaven was calling your name. When your heart wouldn't let go of hope even though your mind told you to stop, heaven was calling your name. But this cry from Michael was different. It carried the weight of divine timing. It carried urgency. It carried the sense that a spiritual shift was near, one that required your awareness. And heaven refused to let you walk into the next season unaware of what is at stake. My beloved child, there is a prophetic call resting upon you. A call that has chased you through storms. A call that has followed you through pain. A call that has whispered to you in the night. A call that has spoken through dreams, through coincidences, through moments you couldn't explain. Heaven has been pursuing you long before you even understood why your heart felt drawn to this message. Heaven is calling you now because you are entering a moment of decision. Not a decision made with pressure or fear, but with clarity. A decision to step back under God's hand. A decision to reclaim your covering. A decision to realign your spirit. A decision to let heaven protect what the enemy has been trying so fiercely to reach. And here is the beautiful truth, my child. When heaven calls your name, it is always an invitation into something greater. Greater safety. Greater strength. Greater purpose. Greater peace. Greater intimacy with God. The call is not to expose you, it is to elevate you. Not to shame you, it is to save you. Not to condemn you, it is to restore you. Your name is being spoken in the heavens right now because the next chapter of your life depends on your response to this moment. And heaven will not let you move forward without giving you one more chance, one more alert, one more pull toward the light. You are not lost. You are not forsaken. You are being summoned by the voice of glory. And the cry of Michael is heaven's final invitation to step fully into the protection your soul is longing for. My beloved child, take a deep breath now, for we have reached the final part of this message, one that carries the full weight of heaven's heart toward you. Everything you have heard until now has been the unfolding of a vision, a warning, a calling, a plea. But this final part, this is the moment where heaven's voice settles into your spirit like a seal. This is the moment where God leans close, where eternity brushes against your soul, where the cry of Archangel Michael becomes the whisper of the Father himself. I saw the end of the vision, and my child, it broke me and healed me at the same time. For as Michael cried out your name, something in the heavens shifted. The atmosphere around him thickened with glory. A wind moved, not like earthly wind, but like breath. The breath of God. And I saw the Father extend his hand toward you. Not in anger. Not in disappointment. But in longing. The kind of longing only a creator can have for what he created with his own hands. His voice did not thunder. It did not shake the heavens. It came softly, like the sound of a father kneeling beside a broken child, lifting their chin gently. He said, "Tell them I am still here. And my child, that message is for you. God is still here. Through every drift, every doubt, every dark valley, every silent night, every heavy burden, every moment you felt unworthy or unseen, He is still here. And His protection, though you wandered near its edge, has not vanished. It has waited. Patiently. Tenderly. Faithfully. I saw Michael lower his sword, but this time not in sorrow. This time in reverence. Because the Father was stepping forward. When God steps forward, the entire spiritual world bows. Even the shadows retreat. Even the enemy trembles. Even your past loses its voice. And the Father spoke again. Call them home before the moment passes. My beloved child, this is heaven's final plea. Not because God is done with you. Not because your chances are gone. But because your next steps matter more than you know. There are seasons in life when delaying is harmless. And then there are seasons when delaying carries a cost. You have reached one of those sacred moments where hesitation could lead to hardship, but surrender will lead to safety. Where ignoring the warning could expose you, but responding will cover you like a shield of fire. Heaven is not calling you because you are lost. Heaven is calling because you are chosen. Heaven is not warning you because punishment is coming. Heaven is warning you because purpose is calling. Heaven is not crying your name because you are failing. Heaven is crying your name because you are so close to stepping into the fullness of what God planned for you. My beloved child, hear me with all the love of a father. You are moments away from losing God's protection only if you walk away now. But if you turn back, even slightly, you are moments away from gaining a strength you have never known. Moments away from stepping into a season where what once attacked you will flee from you. Moments away from a restoration so deep it will silence every lie spoken over your life. Moments away from blessings that have been waiting for your return. Moments away from the hand of God resting upon you again with power. Do not let this moment pass. Heaven has stretched itself toward you. Michael has cried out your name. The Spirit has stirred your heart. The Father has opened His arms. This is your moment of return. This is your moment of covering. This is your moment of awakening. Step back under the shelter. Whisper your yes. Let your heart soften. Let your spirit bow. Let your soul come home. And my beloved child, before I close, I must speak something heaven pressed deeply into my spirit. This message was not meant to reach only your ears. There are others who are drifting silently. Others who are near the edge. Others whose angels are crying their names without them hearing. If this word touched you, if it awakened you, then let it be your divine assignment to carry it to another soul. Share it as though you are carrying heaven's torch. Lift it as though you are joining Michael's cry. Help it reach those who might be saved by your obedience. It is not just an action. It is a ministry. It is a calling. It is an act of divine duty. And remain connected, my child. Stay with this voice that heaven is using to reach you. Subscribe, not for numbers, not for vanity, but because this is how you ensure you never drift out of range again. This is how you remain in the flow of warnings, revelations, and coverings that heaven pours out for you. Now, my beloved child, may the Lord bless you. May His hand cover you. May His angels surround you. May His voice guide you. May His mercy draw you. May His protection rise around you like a fortress of light. May your heart respond while the door is still open. And may this moment mark the beginning of a new chapter in your life, one where heaven walks with you closely, fiercely, tenderly. Amen.